Warriors over weasels.
That's why I don't stand with every group. A group I struggle with the struggle of
Warriors
others.
over weasels.
We are not a genetic defect, a lifestyle choice, a political choice, or a temporary cause. We are undoubtedly born with this melanin, and we die full of melanin. Generation after generation.
BB Fahodie family, welcome to another Warrior Talk. I'm Busara. Gonna jump right into that ancestral wisdom. Come on. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. African proverb. And hopefully the ancestral wisdom from the African proverb connects with the lesson that we'll be talking about today. We are amongst the people who are serious about protecting their lives. And it makes perfect sense for this to be the case because their society depends on lies and chaos of all sorts to maintain its day-to-day operation. Facts. This so-called society that must be destroyed depends on a collective ignorance from Africans so that non-Africans can appear highly intelligent. Facts. It also depends on an unconscious self-hatred among our people, which enables the enemy to use us to abuse ourselves and to fill their offshore accounts with our coins in the process. Sad. This so-called society also depends on and manufactures divides between the youth, adults, and elders, creating an atmosphere of disobedience, disrespect, and disorder. A people who structure their prisons to be privately owned and traded on the stock market don't deserve the authority to hand out justice. Facts. A system that depends on sick people to maintain billion-dollar pharmaceutical corporations shouldn't be trusted to have control over anything that impacts the health of melanated people, especially melanated women and children. Ashe. A nation that sells the most weapons globally while being one of the most heavily involved nations in philanthropy in the world is a nation that deals in extreme levels of deceit and technology. Slickster. We must prepare ourselves to recognize, address, and ward off future duplicitous attacks from this relentless enemy. A so-called society where sex sells, but over half the marriages fail, is not a society that can solve the problems that currently plague and pervert African men and African women. No way. I'm not being negative, slanderous, or exaggerating anything about this enemy. Truth. What would these greedy bloodsuckers do without the consistent, conscious chaos currently being carried out on our people? If we weren't unsophisticated politically, could they run this disrespectful circus they call politics on our people? If we loved ourselves, could men from other ethnic groups pay us to make music that promotes hatred, violence, unconsciousness, pseudo-consciousness, and spiritless sex? Break it down. And spiritless sex is the removal of humanity from the process that creates human life. Having sex for money, sex for sport, having sex with people whose names you don't know, having sex based strictly on penis size, bust size, porn addictions, sadomasochism, pedophilia, homosexuality, and whatever learned perversions we picked up from the Iceman and their distant relatives. Sad but true. Economically, this enemy depends on our disunity. What else? Our miseducation. What else? And our pathological behaviors. What else? We send their children to college. What else? We fund their expensive leisure trips, but most importantly, we unconsciously, for the most of us, protect, revive, and innovate the glass house known as white supremacy. Sad. So-called white supremacy is dying. Facts. However, our people are unconsciously giving it CPR. Stop it. We must see to its demise. We shouldn't give these sinisters mouth to mouth so they can continue destroying the ozone layer for profit. Facts. Or so they can turn a penis into a vagina and advance puberty blockers for preteen. This enemy knows their ship needs to be sunken, and that's why such great lengths are taken to maintain us from thinking for ourselves or from connecting the dots of their physical, mental, social, political, what else? Economic, academic, and spiritual onslaught of being a premeditated scientific attack working in unison together. Pay attention. Their normal is not the standard of humanity, and I would even argue that their character is not a trait of a human. What else? A dog can get infected with rabies, but rabies is not a characteristic of dogs. It's a disease that dogs can contract. That's how I view the enemy in their ways. It's a deviation. It's not the original or an upgrade. And eventually we will see our ancestors' ways were not primitive. They were preservative of nature.
Pay attention.
The construction of our homes and cities prior to encountering the outsiders of our ways was holistic and based on natural, non-poisonous materials. Unlike everything being built today with numerous materials known to cause cancer in the state of California, as if California is its own planet. This is why their normal cannot be the normal for African people.
Facts.
They have too many of us duped into thinking it's standard to have alcoholics and drug addicts in the family.
It's not.
For there to be single mothers and absent fathers, and for our communities to be some of the worst looking and unsafe areas in the world. And again, the enemy has some institution or program put in place cash cowing the so-called normal struggle we face from Chicago to Sudan.
Dirty dogs.
We are an omni-versatile economic tool for their greedy schemes.
Look at the proof.
Only in these so-called societies where the people descend from those who happily watch lynchings of our ancestors, who were mainly innocent, can there be profit in the torture of African people.
You did.
From the big screen to pancake syrup bottles, this enemy will find ways to brand and monetize traumatic events.
Ain't no limit.
And when they want to take a break from giving us pure trauma to our psyches, they can still cash in on our demand for black superheroes and sheroes, as seen with movies like the Black Panther.
Listen up.
They are creating our problems to get paid, then they give us a false solution and get paid, as they create another problem that won't be discovered until it's a full-blown infestation that they'll get paid off of again.
Money, money, money.
It's pretty clever.
It is.
I give credit where credit is due.
Yep.
And when it comes to dividing people, creating confusion, desensitizing, over-sexualizing, and individualizing, I feel no people have waged an attack on the world like those with the Iceman inheritance.
Yurugu, small hats, Ashkenazis.
And we must not only understand this, but place plans, curriculum, institutions, programming, and reverse engineering in place that will gear us towards a Bibi Fahodie and out of Stockholm Syndrome and other anti-liberated mindsets that this enemy depends on.
Ashe.
This is why we must remove their culture and customs as being ordinary. This can only be done by knowing self, protecting self, and bettering self, so that our very existence is an example of a Bibi Fahodie to our youth looking up to us. No one is perfect. However, that doesn't give us an excuse not to seek righteousness or to not want to reflect righteousness. This enemy won't teach us to be great for a fear of our greatness being their downfall, which is true, because in the words of our ancestor, Dr. Amos Wilson, African gains add up to European losses, and we must do what we can from allowing this enemy to freely penetrate our minds with their anti-African ways. We must heal ourselves, not in a passive way or in a way that will have us forgiving the unforgivable, but in a way that will encourage communal reciprocity, umoja, decolonizing our minds, re-Africanizing our minds, and most importantly, vengeance for the ancestors.
Ashe.
Hurt people, and sick people are contagious. We must do what we can to guard sanity and to keep our families sanitized from the filth non-Africans want us to fester in.
Ashe.
Go out of your way to heal yourself.
Please.
The healing process can range from taking a walk in nature to doing community work that will benefit children. I personally feel that gardening is one of the most cost-effective, healing, and educating tools to utilize.
Do something.
If you notice, a lot of proverbs and wise words are centered around trees, plants, roots, leaves, and fruits. Because unlike man, nature doesn't lie and it doesn't create false gray areas. Plants are products of their environment. If they don't get enough sunlight or too much sunlight, it'll show. If we don't get enough that is African while getting too much that is non-African, it'll show as well.
Facts.
Seeing life flourish in my garden lifts my morale and gives a hope for my future successes and endeavors, especially if it's a food crop. However, the garden is only a healing space when it's in a healthy condition. Listen up. When plants are dying, pests and pathogens are invading your garden due to neglect, mismanagement, and lack of preventative measures, it's an eyesore and depressing.
Yes, it is.
We are no different.
Listen up.
With no preventative measures in place, we are easily infested with viruses that will slowly kill us or hinder our growth and potential. So let's weed out the enemy within that makes the enemies on the outside manipulate us with little to no resistance.
Facts.
In culture, it's the ultimate resistance. Maintaining culture, defining your own culture, it's the ultimate resistance among an enemy who likes to deceive and manipulate people through their culture.
What else?
Through their diet.
What else?
Through their entertainment.
What else?
Through their sex habits. Till the next time, stay on guard, remain African-centered, and stay in pursuit of righteousness. BB Fahodie family.
Let's draw a line in the sand.
Warriors over weasels.
These doctors can't make a woman a man, and vice versa. This life torture in this dominion. Not enough experts, too many opinions. And these losers thinking they winning. Elders missing the wisdom. Gentlemen acting like women. Puberty blockers and transgender shit's crazy. I'm transcending my plans, getting destroying the system.